go and, he's not talking about the works of the flesh. Sin there is not talking about the works of the flesh. If you notice, he says, I judge no person after the flesh.
Right.
So when he says go and sin no more, he's not talking about things you would do outwardly. When he says go and sin no more, what is he saying? Go and no longer believe that God is the thief that steals, kills, and destroys. Right? Go and no longer try to find life in your works. Right? Go and know that God is the giver of life. That God, the work of God is to give you life as a free gift. Go and have one God, the Lord your God. And not your own works. That's what he's talking about there. Don't trust in your own ability. That's what he's talking about there. And there's one other place where he says that, and he says, lest a worse thing come upon you. What he's saying is I've come and manifested what the work of God has always been, which is to heal man from sin and death and give them blessing and life as a gift. That's always been the work of God. You guys didn't know it. I manifested it in the earth. Now that I've cleansed you from sin and death, now that I've redeemed the world from sin and death, go and no longer eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Right? So he divorced us from death. He divorced us from Adam. He removed our life from being in the kingdom of death. And now he's telling us, listen, now that I've set you free, don't use your liberty to go back and eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
So that's what he's talking about there. In Galatians, when it says, it's for freedom you've been set free, or for liberty. He says only use don't use your freedom or your liberty as an occasion to the flesh. He's not saying I set you free and now go and no longer do bad things. No, what he's saying is, listen, you've been set free from your union to Adam in the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Now, don't use your liberty to go back and do the same thing Adam did. Right? And you know he's saying that because the context of Galatians is about going back to the law. He's saying you guys have been set free from trying to find life from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Don't use your freedom to go back to the tree. Right? That's what he's talking about there when he says go and sin no more. So if you want to put different language on it, go and no longer eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Go and no longer try to clothe yourself with fig leaves. Right? Go knowing that the work of God is to give you blessing and life as a gift by his arm, free from your works. Go and know that you don't clean yourself up from sin, but I will clean you up from sin. Go and know that you don't justify yourself by your works, but I'm going to justify you by my hand. And if you keep reading in John 9, after he heals the blind guy, he says in John 9, for judgment I've come into the world. What judgment? To reveal the judgment about who's killing you and who gives life. To reveal judgment about God and what the work of God is. Because those guys were busy thinking the work of God is to punish sinners. The work of God is to kill sinners. The work of God is to curse sinners. The work of God is to disparage and condemn sinners. That's what they thought the work of God was. Well, Jesus comes and says, I only do what I see my Father doing. Well, what did Jesus do, man? He justified the sinners. He was a friend to the sinners. He hung out with the sinners. He healed the sinners. He told the sinners, God only comes to give life. For judgment, he came into the world. Means he came to issue a decree about who God is and how God will always be and always manifest himself, and then who is actually stealing life. From us. Because the serpent does a masterful thing. He gets us to trust in our works for life. Well, when our works kill us, he's got us then blaming God. So he's the one killing us with his system, and then he's got us thinking God's the one killing us. So he doesn't just kill us, but then because we think God's killing us, we won't cry out to him. We'll think he left us there. He abandoned us here. We're dying because of him. Look what he did. And we're going to then be trusting in our own works. Like Adam didn't think God would come to clothe him. And so he tried to clothe himself.
We turn our back on the one who can save us.
That's right. And so Jesus comes in the form of God for judgment, to show that it's the prince of this world killing you, man. It's never been me. I've never been killing you. I can only ever love you. My work can only ever be to heal, to exalt, to save, to redeem. I can't be anybody other than myself.
That's exactly right.
I'm wonderful counselor,
Yeah.
mighty God, Prince of Peace, everlasting Father. That's the only way I can ever manifest. I can't go and be somebody I'm not.
Yes.
But the devil come and killed us and then used our minds that were darkened by death to paint a picture of God as the one that was killing us.
Right.
As God being dissatisfied with us because of our works, because of our sin. And that had us spun off trying to cleanse ourselves, heal ourselves, glorify ourselves, exalt ourselves. Right?
Yes, absolutely.